Deeply embedded into the very fabric of society, ancient cultures laid a foundation for modern gang and pop culture alike. From codes of conduct to secret rituals hidden in plain sight, these are the ancient origins of 10 rituals gangs still practice today. Twisting fingers and stacking letters was first popularized by the Slauson Avenue Boys in Los Angeles, which in turn inspired the later evolved Crips. But even before that, the first Mexican Chicano gang known as the Pachucos created the cryptic lingo of Calo in the 1930s. Directly influenced by the Freemasons of Mexico, this secret dialect of words and phrases was accompanied by a series of coded hand gestures in order to communicate inside of juvenile halls. By the 1950s, it had made its way onto the streets, with the Slauson Avenues creating the first black derivative, followed by the Bloods, and soon after, the rest of the country. The code of silence and its repercussions often gets credited to the mob, but in its truest form, omerta was indirectly birthed by King Charles VI of Spain circa 1711. Ruling Sicily from an ocean away, Charles imposed a ruthless system of punishments for rats who dared expose the royal crown or its corrupt citizens. With underground bandits taking justice into their own hands, a society of secrecy was born. Fast forward 100 years, the first Cosa Nostra was established in a rural village near Palermo, Sicily. The use of color-coded bandanas to symbolize allegiance traces back to the 12th century with the Thuggee of India. This glorified religious cult of thieves was notorious for posing as travelers to shake down everyone from tourists to local merchants. Using yellow and red rags to identify themselves amongst the crowded streets, they developed a grimy reputation for wrapping the rags around people's windpipes, regardless of whether they put up a struggle or not. According to Confessions of a Thug, written in 1839, they believed this was a sacred obligation to please their almighty Kali, the goddess of destruction. Testing one's heart before joining a crew is a primitive act that transcends both time and species alike. Like young wolves who are put through a period of submissive behavior, or juvenile chimps who get flocked by their entire troop, this behavior amongst humans was first documented in 500 BC. Known as Krypteia, this Greek ritual required young Spartans to clap a grown helot who was enslaved property of the state. Often targeting the biggest and strongest, initiates usually preyed upon the most rebellious slaves to further demonstrate dominance. Long before catching bodies and collecting hats was glorified on drill beats, human trophy taking was the easiest and most legitimate way to earn prestige. Once upon a time in 500 BC, the Western European Celts became infamous for collecting enemy heads and preserving them in cedar oil to proudly display inside their homes and chariots. The ideology was that warriors who weren't born into wealth could obtain status amongst the nobles by the number of heads collected. Diabolic displays of choreography, like the puncturing motions mimicked in a naughty bop, were direct references to the Harlem Shake when mocking the convulsive spasms of the late 051 Melly, find eerie parallels in the macabre rituals of the Scythian steppes of 7th century BC. These nomadic warriors performed ceremonies after successful battles, which incorporated the suffering of their enemies into their dance moves, often mimicking their last desperate struggles before succumbing to their injuries. According to renowned historian Herodotus, they would even go as far as drinking brew directly from their snot boxes while performing. The forbidden craving for smoked cadavers, whether in literal form like the lock smoking Tupac's ashes, or metaphorically smoking rival gang members, echoes back to the ancient Mayans of 1000 BC. According to Spanish chronicler Bernardino de Sahagún, high priests would literally barbecue the hearts of captured warriors atop the great temple of the Jaguar, then would proceed to smoke tree bark soaked in enemy blood and copal resin. In doing so, they believed they were paying tribute to the god of war, ultimately balancing the cosmic cycle. Today, gang members get smoked to balance the karmic cycle. Maliciously using the faces of rival gang members for t-shirts, shoes, and digital cover arts is a method of madness that stretches back to the Aztecs of the 1400s. The first account, as etched by Fray Bernardino in the Florentine Codex, describes the act as the ritual for filleting men. The process began with high-ranking generals selecting from the captured prisoners of war. Then the Tode Tlemakaski, which translates to the filleters of our Lord, carefully removed their hides using sharp obsidian glass. Finally, only the specific warriors who captured the individuals got to wear their skin suits during the festival of filleting men. Adding insult to injury, the suits were worn for as long as 20 days to allow them to slowly deteriorate, emphasizing the slow destruction of their enemy. The use of tattoos to symbolically display kinship is deeply rooted in ancient Nubian culture. As early as 2000 BC, Nubian warriors called the Kushite used scarification to display rank amongst their fellow savages, using sharpened bones to carve serpents onto their skin. Specific placements like the back signified participation in past battles, with the face and forehead reserved for the ones who reached elite chief status, usually only earned through the mastery of headhunting during active combat. Poetic tales of war-torn realities layered over hypnotic bass and drum patterns was first developed in 2000 BC. According to Michalowski Piotr, it was an anonymous street poet who wrote the mournful account of the fall of the Third Sumerian Empire after it was brutally ravished and set ablaze by the Emirate. Named de Montfort, this village anthem would be performed by traveling wordsmiths who went on legendary lifelong tours. Using angelic harps and lyres to set the tone, background singers would often mimic funeral dirges by humming melodic undertones, much like modern producers who sample different sounds to recreate desired atmospheres for modern poets to rap on.